Welcome to another episode of Black Ice Reality Check. I'm your host, Black Ice, and I have a special guest on the show, the king of solar, Edmond. How are you?
Blessed and highly favored. Thanks for having me.
Right on. We've been trying for about 6 to 9 months to get you on the show. I met you at the Baccarat Cigar Lounge at the Bellagio about 2 years ago. Decked out in your orange.
Maybe even 3. Yeah.
That was the company colors, right? Orange. Is that it? Is it Apricot?
Yes, it was Apricot.
It was. Okay, we'll get into that for a second. And the reason I wanted you on the show is you're a very successful, young, talented individual, and your Instagram. Do you put his Instagram up there? Yeah, you put his Instagram up there. Your Instagram, I like it under the description. It says something couch surfer to millionaire or something like that.
Surfing couches to Ferraris.
Right.
Whatever.
So can you talk about that? Because I know in your reels you've talked about how you were just hanging out, not being productive, and now you're just boom, the man.
Well, that's all relative. Actually, I think Brian came up with that slogan. But yeah, I started out sleeping on my buddy's couch in low-income housing in 2018. I was a 30-year-old, and talk about hitting rock bottom and being in the NFL club. Not the good kind where you're getting paid millions to throw a football around,
right.
But the no friends left club and the no funds left club. That is where I started.
Wow.
Yeah.
So where were you living at the time? You're from the Pacific Northwest, right?
Portland, Oregon. Yeah.
Okay. Were you down here in Vegas, or did you move here after you?
No, I went from I found out about solar. And at the time I was training for my first amateur fight. I had a death wish.
Wait, stop. MMA, boxing, kickboxing, Thai, what kind of fighting?
It was a little bit of jiu-jitsu in the morning and a little Muay Thai in the afternoon.
What?
Yeah.
So I didn't know you were a jiu-jitsu guy.
I'm not.
Okay. I got that.
I'm not tough. I'm not, none of these things.
Joe Rogan's going to call him out.
I'm just a skinny little white kid who's not going to take shit from anybody.
I like it. I did jiu-jitsu for years, and people don't realize that's the best martial art, like full engage. You're not, oh, I could have hit you. You're on the mat. Oh, I could have won. Like you either lose or win on the mat, right? So you were going to do MMA.
Yeah, I just wanted to fight in the cage. And actually, I kind of got talked into it. My buddy was a bodyguard for high-profile individuals. He was making $30,000 a month as a bodyguard, and he got enough to get into cannabis and made a few million. And he had 5 amateur fights under his belt.
Wow!
And he had already spent a couple $100,000 on training.
Nice.
And he needed to pass a French class, and I'm French. I was born and raised in Paris, France, actually.
What?
Yeah, I moved to America when I was 12, and so he knew that I speak French and Spanish, and he's like, hey, can you please help me pass this stupid French class? And I'm like, well, yeah, but can you teach me a little grappling while we're at it? And so we would exchange French lessons for some grappling, and he was like, dude, have you ever considered, doing an amateur fight? And I'm like, fuck you. And he's like, no, I'm serious, Edmond, like you're really athletic and you pick it up quick and you would do great. And I was like,
man, this guy,
let's go.
You surprised me, because then I've known him for a while. I'm watching your reels, and then all of a sudden you bust out with a violin. I'm like, who is this dude? Like, you're a savant. Like, you're so talented. I'm not just saying that because you're here. I didn't even know you played the violin. At first I said he's going to fake it, but you play the violin. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's really where my, upbringing and discipline comes from.
From Paris? How old were you when you came to the States?
12 years old.
Okay, so you were raised over there.
I was. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm still French. I have a green card. And,
wow.
I pay more in taxes than most people make in a year, times 2, 3, 4, 5. But I'm definitely French.
So here, since you brought that up, I've always told people, Americans have more opportunity than most people, and people like yourself that fight to get to this country, or your parents brought you here for a better life, and you take advantage of it and win, and we're sitting here on our asses complaining about our Xbox login or our, I'm oppressed. And look what's going on in France right now. Mm-hmm. The pension.
If I hadn't moved to America and learned the #1 business language in the world You can be so much more direct in English than you'll ever be in French or Spanish or any Latin language. I wouldn't have Rolls Royces and Ferraris, and I wouldn't be living the American dream. I would be in France, maximum making 90 grand a year, paying 60,000 of it in taxes, and the struggle would be real. My mentor taught me this. You'll never be grateful for whatever you have in abundance. So Americans don't actually realize how great they have it because
they judge themselves on abundance instead of the freedom that they have.
Amen.
That's awesome. And I know over there, man, it's like right now they're having problems with a pension. Are they taking? I think they're taking the people's pension. I think that's what they're protesting about. I'm just thinking, wow, I'm so glad to be here. But then we take advantage, and when you say abundance, I want to speak on that. We have access to so many distractions. And this is where you've talked about discipline. And maybe you can touch on what it takes to be a successful multimillionaire in America. And you did it at a certain age. I don't even know how old you are, but you're younger, a lot younger than me.
Yeah.
So I admire that tenacity because in your generation, you have, social media distractions. You've got Las Vegas distractions, more Las Vegas, poker, gambling, women. We'll talk about that. And how did you decide to stay focused and make your destiny, your business a priority outside of all these distractions? Was it because you had a bigger why than anybody else?
I think first and foremost, you have to find something you believe in and something you're passionate about. There's a million ways to make $1 million in America, but I found one that felt good where I could lay my head on the pillow at night. And for me, that was solar, right? Serving the homeowner. Most homeowners, their home is their biggest financial investment, sad but true. And it just made sense, right? Most people think the kitchen or the bathroom is probably the best investment you can make in your home. Well, not everybody likes the same cabinets or the same colors.
Sure.
So you actually potentially would only get 50 to 60 cents back on your dollar with solar. And documentation beats conversation. I'm not here to argue with anybody. Look up the numbers.
Right.
You've got the federal, income tax credit. And you've got Berkeley labs and different studies. And solar's still fairly new, but you can look up surveys with 8 different states involved, tens of thousands of homes, and for every dollar you put into solar, you're going to get $1.30 back.
Wow, and it's clean energy, right?
Yeah, you're helping it's debatable, but imagine if you could help the planet, help homeowners, and be paid handsomely. So for me, it checked the boxes.
Yeah.
And I decided to go all in.
I like it. And then let's talk about where you're going. Where's the new direction that Edmond's going? Because you're with this company, Apricot. Is that what it's called?
I was, yeah. I resigned in January 22nd, 2023. So.
Why did you resign? And you're not talking bad about the company.
No, a multitude of reasons, but ultimately, I would tell anyone out there, people will only treat you the way you allow them to, and you don't have to tolerate anything you don't want to. So for me, I was just a rep at Apricot, and
you made millions being a rep.
Correct.
Wow.
But you're a 1099, right? So you eat what you kill.
S-corp.
It's based on the value you bring to the marketplace. And unfortunately, I didn't get paid the way the commission structure read. So
you broke it. That's why.
That's debatable. It doesn't need to be broken. But if for whatever reason the ownership of the company can't show you their books and is out, on the town in Sin City, spending money on $3,000-$5,000 dinners and buying, Philip Plein and gambling.
Oh my gosh!
Well, that money can go away really quick, and it's got to come from somewhere.
So where are you going now? You're going. What's the next move?
So where
do I need to get my money to invest?
Yeah, now money's expensive money. As much as I'd love to not have to, sell another watch and personally fund this venture. I definitely don't want to just give up equity.
Right. When you lose equity, you lose total control.
Yeah. I've raised a little bit of money at a $50 million valuation. and I've received some from some close friends at a $25 million valuation.
Wow.
We launch April 1st, and we're very excited.
When are you launching?
April 1st.
April Fool's Day. I like it.
Hey.
I like it. I love it. I love it. So that's all good. So you got this new venture going, and you got the good projections, evaluation, and you're not going through VC or angel, or are you going for private funding?
So, I mean, right now you would look at it, it'd be like, it's just you, Edmond, right? So we don't know if you're sane, because let's be honest, I'm out my fucking mind. I need counseling. We don't know.
But you admit it. And we all need, hey, anybody that's successful like this, in my opinion, we're all a little out there.
I mean, first of all, I'm never going to ask anybody for anything.
Right.
So, and it might be a weakness, but I'm not just going to be like, hey, do you want to invest in my company?
Sure.
Child, please.
Sure.
Okay. But also to get some VC and you know, I want to be at least at $100 million valuation, and you got to probably put up a sale or two, right? So we start selling on April 1st. I believe we'll have a few rounds of funding. My goal is to finish out December and have a Christmas to remember, raise $50 million at a $500 million valuation, buy my first plane, and pay off the $12.5 million penthouse I just bought.
I love it. And there's a book out by Jessica Livingston. She has this incubator venture in San Francisco. It's called Founders at Work.
Nice.
You should read that. It's phenomenal because they talk about not giving up their equity.
Yeah.
Right? You lose total control. So when you give up too much. So I want to go into this whole thing. What I'm in is the red pill space. You know that. You've seen my podcast. Some of you guys see my podcast. I see you out and about in the town. Very attractive women. Maybe a girlfriend. I don't know your situation, so I don't want to step over anybody's toes.
Fully single.
Okay, fully single.
You're either getting paid or you're getting laid, but when you're getting one, the other's getting away. Okay, I'm married to my business, and I don't have time to build an emotional connection with a young lady. To me, watching an hour of Netflix and developing feelings with someone, as amazing as having that emotional connection would be, and it's what we all strive for, and it's what we all crave, it's more expensive than popping $20,000 in bottles at the club.
So it's a liability and not an asset.
It's just, there's seasons of life, and you know, obviously I could potentially afford to start raising a family right now, and that is my goal. I'd love to have a baby boy and carry on
a legacy.
The name for
right
sure.
On. So what is it you look for in a woman that you're dating? Now, obviously your purpose in dating is to date, casually be engaged with the dating scene.
I'm not really looking.
Right. But when you date, but if you're dating a girl or seeing a girl, right, you're either together, dating, whatever. What is it? What is it that attracts you to the woman? Obviously, looks are important.
I put them in different categories.
Okay, let's hear your categories. That's what I want to hear.
So a lot of them fall in the bucket category.
Okay.
And you know, it is what it is. Time either promotes you or exposes you. Now that's my perspective, right? My opinion of you shouldn't reflect how you feel about yourself.
Exactly.
And whether, you know, if you ask me for my opinion, I'll be direct and honest.
And you notice a lot of people can't handle that?
Of course. Yeah. I'm an asshole. Edmond's mean. Edmond's this. Edmond's that. Okay.
Yeah. So you have to have a thick skin and a soft heart. That's my mindset. I've always said that because I see a lot of people that have thin skin and a hard heart, but it's like, hey, look, I'm telling you, if it's business and you say, hey, you need to do this to be successful in solar, and I get offended, then I'm the wrong guy.
Everybody knows everything, has nothing, and 99% of people, once they get some advice or criticism, will say, yeah, but that's why we say when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. My first mentor served 5 years in the federal penitentiary. Okay, his name's Dominic Banks. He has a shotgun hole in his chest that he got when he was 14 years old. Okay, he has insane tattoos that I probably can't share on a podcast. He has a box cutter knife wound, and I remember I came out of jail at 19. I was trying to get a job at 24 Hour Fitness for $12 an hour, and I walk into a small boutique gym, you know, asking for a job. Mind you, I can already put up 2 plates for 15 reps. You know, not pretty far along my fitness journey. And the first thing this guy did is he took out a sticky note and he wrote he wrote it on a sticky note, on a yellow sticky note, and he handed it to me. And he said, that's what you are, put it in your wallet. I had a decision to make. It's in moments of decision that your destiny is determined. And I was like, you know, I did
Sure.
it, right? Because I knew I had something to learn from this guy.
Right.
Right. And I'm not going to say he turned me into a man or anything, but 2 years later, he said, hey, give me your wallet. He pulled it out, ripped it up, and
nice.
Yeah.
So what did you take from that? What was the message, underlying message with that?
I mean, my perspective of the past events will change. Today, the way I would look at it is, you know, there's a time and place to when the student's ready, the teacher will appear, right? Sometimes, especially from your elders,
yeah,
it's time to listen, right? Everybody wants to learn from their own experience, but learning from other people's experience, that's wisdom.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, Big Dom definitely.
And is he still alive?
Oh yeah.
Oh, so you talk to him on the regular, or occasionally you still communicate with him?
Yeah, I mean, I've treated him to a few trips in Vegas.
All right. So let's go back to these categories. You have one category you already talked about, women. What are the others?
I mean, I see so many buckets out there and service animals. To find a woman that has purpose and that's not a whore is so rare.
Right.
That when I find one, I'm just like, salute, respect, you know, and those end up becoming lifelong friends.
And what I've seen, it's funny, is because the more successful you become as a man, the more you start seeing things in a different light. And so I'll go through these Instagrams and you'll see it's like, oh, not another one. She's hot, but she's selling herself as a sexual object. Therefore, that's what I look at her as, a sexual object. That's it. That's all you're good for. And so when I talk to these men or coach these men, it's like, look, what's your purpose in dating, right? If you want to just date and have fun, great. Are you looking for a relationship? Great. Or you eventually want to get married, but you know when that time is, right? And I always tell guys, look, they said, when should I get married? I said, it's up to you, but I always say 35 to 40 or 40, because your peak as a man, your money keeps going up. Men always sell their stock early. Women's sexual marketplace value is 24. She's never going to look as good as she was in her mid-20s. As she gets older, she starts losing her value in terms of looks, not as a person. But as a man, what happens is these young guys at 26, they cash their stuff. Here, I'm buying. And now their value goes up. Because when you have more options, you have to pick a litter. 90% of the women out there are fighting for you. You're a high-value man. So you have an abundance.
I think it all depends on what you're looking for and how you're wired and programmed. I mean, at the end of the day, behind every great man, there's an even greater woman.
100%.
I do believe it goes both ways, and you really attract who you are.
So how do you look at traditional marriage with a contract?
You know, some of the most successful men out there, 100 millionaires, billionaires, most of them are married with kids.
Well, through a traditional
and it definitely grounds you. And I don't know where I'd be today if, you know, I had started a family early.
Right. Will you get married without the contract of the government? Like you'll be together, like you have a ceremony, or will you sign that dotted line with the government and saying, okay?
You know, I think we're all pretty emotional creatures. I almost got married in Vegas in January of 2020.
Wow.
Right before the pandemic, to a woman that I really loved at the time.
Right.
Who was actually a whore, and she even told me, you know, I'm a whore. Like, you're not a whore. I tried changing her identity. It doesn't work. But we got the dress, we got the ring, we were walking, and she's like, so how's this going to work? She was dating some 70-year-old that was going to buy her a Jaguar and a condo and all this stuff the following month. And so we're like right there about to go to the chapel and get married. And she's like, so how's this going to work? Because I was like, maybe it's not the right time for us to get married.
Wow.
So, but you know, today I want to do a $3 million wedding in Lake Como, and potentially a second wedding at the Vatican. And ultimately my goal is to become someone that can attract my best friend and someone that I can keep building with, to where my son and potentially daughters, which I don't know how I'll deal with that, but you know, can be raised by both man and wife. So I'd like my kids to have a solid mom that I respect and look up to.
Does she have to have a career?
No.
What if, and why I ask that is a lot of these individuals nowadays, you see that I don't need a man, I'm an independent woman, I don't want to give up my money. What are your views on that? Like, are you looking for a feminine woman? Or are you looking for a woman that's independent?
I think there's exceptions to every rule.
Of course.
I've dated almost everything, right? And I've had opportunities to marry rich literally a half dozen times to where I would never have to work another day in my life, right? But I also don't want to be
emasculated.
Yeah, or it's just you meet the trust fund baby or the housewife that has the brand new Range Rover every year and a car that has unlimited swipe ability, and she has a $5 to $10 million home in every other state or country, and she's depressed, right? Turns to pills, no purpose. So it's the same thing for me. Like, I love what I do. I might work 18-hour days. I might be overworked and underpaid, but I have purpose. From hardship and from struggle and from stress and from all these things comes happiness and fulfillment and purpose.
So what value are you looking for in a woman if you were to go there? What's the value she's going to bring to the relationship that you need?
There's so
tough questions.
I have so many value words. Obviously, trust and loyalty would be at the top, but my dilemma right now is finding that balance between physical attraction and chemistry, which is so overrated, but it's what I've gone for my entire life.
100.
I was with a woman that was 12 years older than me, and I raised her 2 kids, and I was loyal for 8 years, from the age of 22 to the age of 30. And that's why I ended up on a couch at 30, because I was crushed, just heartbroken. I don't like to lose at life. I like to see something through, and I wanted to win so badly. But to put it bluntly, I dated an insanely wealthy young lady in the third quarter of 2021. She had a Birkin in every color. She had more money in my safe than I did, more watches. Her I wasn't good enough to even meet her family. And
sounds like a Kardashian girl.
Oh, dude, this is way beyond that. The girl speaks multiple languages, has class and elegance, is better traveled than I am, and that's kind of saying a lot. And has seen the world, and
right.
and she's just on a different level. And she was in her mid-20s, and she's dated billionaires, and she's been on the 430-foot yachts in south of France and Italy for summers, and she's a rich girl.
Right.
And not only was I not good enough to meet the family at first, but it was pretty incredible to see how she moved from Miami to Las Vegas, and overnight, all these girls in Vegas who are drop dead gorgeous and physically so attractive, and they identify as whores, so they're extremely good in bed, but can't do anything around the house, right? Whereas I'm not going to tell you that this girl, and I'll keep her name out of this, but I'm not going to tell you that she would ever clean a dish or cook a meal or do fuck all. But in 2 seconds, she had the maids coming to my house 3 to 4 times a week. She bought $4,500, everything on my card. I'm never going to let a girl pay for anything around me, right? It doesn't matter how much money someone has. It's you fly, I buy. Okay. That's my philosophy.
Right.
But yeah, I mean.
So you consider yourself more traditional in terms of paying for everything. If you live together, married, you're going to pay all the bills.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And I'm on the same page. So when I say that, right, and so are you looking for that? You when you made this comment, I said to myself, they said, why are you single? I said, it's hard to find a unicorn, a girl that looks like a stripper but can be grounded like a housewife. That was the challenge, because I go based on looks, but I also needed that chemistry.
Yeah. So
around that, how important are you concerned, or are you concerned with body count?
So I'm not necessarily looking right now, but the reason I dated this girl is because I thought that we were probably going to have a wedding in Lake Como and start a family, and I am interested in doing that. And I can't tell you how amazing the household was. Like, it was just ran very well, right? And I don't have unlimited money, but I have enough money to where if you want to drop 20 to 50 grand a month on making life easier, I'm all about it.
Okay.
Like, put it on the Amex. But And legitimately, like this girl, like I was still working 18-hour days, and she had zero problem with it. And was
wow. So she was there. She was in a support role.
I mean, she comes from a wealthy family where she probably grew up around a hardworking, man, and it all of it was incredible, but the physical attraction, even though she's drop dead gorgeous and every man's dream and all this and all that, she just didn't identify as a whore in bed. So
she wasn't very sexual in bed.
Yeah, she just doesn't know how to slurp. She doesn't, she just doesn't know how to do what these young American girls, I don't know how they learn this shit, but it's incredible.
Yeah, go ahead.
And, she respects herself enough to where I'm not going to go and fuck on her, right?
Right.
And we made that very clear with one another, right? I might fuck on anyone, whatever, but, she's like, do you like your hair? And I was like, of course. It was all in Spanish. And she's like, well, let's keep it that way, right? And she was very serious.
She was Latina.
Yes.
So was she raised in a Latin country or Central America?
Venezuela.
That's why, because her mom raised her to be a good wife and not an independent woman.
Honestly, I'll be honest with you, she's almost like an alpha male, right?
Right.
She just...
But she's submissive to you. She's following your lead?
For sure.
Okay, so there you go. That's a feminine woman, right? Instead of a masculine woman.
Yeah.
So does body count matter? Back to that question. If a girl has a high body count, does that bother you?
Like if she slept with a lot of dudes?
100 guys.
I mean, I'd love for her to get checked and to make sure that she's clean. If you sleep with someone, you're taking on all their previous partners, all the parasites, all the bacteria, all of it.
And with women, there's a thing called pair bonding. When women sleep with more than 6 men, this is scientifically proven. When women sleep with more than 6 men, their chances of pair bonding with a man goes down to 25%. Because women are generally, again, this is general, there's exceptions to the rule. I got ladies in here, so I don't. Women generally will only sleep with a guy if they're emotionally connected to a point. Men, we can be like, hey, what was that girl's name we were with last weekend? I forgot. Because we're like that little dog, the neighborhood dog that humps you, get off my leg, right? We're full of testosterone until we're ready to settle down. But women, think about it. They're emotional. I like Edmond. I'm emotionally connected to him. And Edmond's like, yeah, she likes me more than I like her. She's cool, whatever. We're having fun. And he's done. She's going to have a harder time pair bonding. So that's why I ask if body count matters.
Yeah, to me, I mean, I've fallen in love with so many different girls out there, and to me it doesn't. I don't really judge someone on their past. I really just make up my own opinion based on what I see and what I experience, and I believe time either promotes you or exposes you. I will say that I've learned a few lessons along the way, right? I'm not going to try and change someone's identity if it's not the right timing for them in their life. I'm going to try and I just recently got out of a relationship where I literally fell in love with this girl because I found out she was married to a man 26 years older than her and in an abusive relationship. And the way I fell in love is because I felt like I needed to help.
So you're a savior.
Which is kind of sad.
Captain Save-A-Ho, that's what we call it. Sometimes not making fun of you, but like my buddy's like, Davor, you just have being a Captain Save-A-Ho. It's like, that's just how I am.
If you look at my Instagram, March 2019, 3rd month in solar, this girl calls me. She's in LA. She's crying. It's 4 a.m. I've been working all day. She's like, her boyfriend's fucking beating her. She's in some apartment.
My gosh.
I literally take my Camry. I drive fucking 9 hours, and I go to the apartment and knock. I was like, pack your shit. Little fucking boyfriend doesn't say shit.
Right.
And I take her to Disneyland, and I post this picture on Instagram of me holding her in my arms, which I don't give a fuck about Disneyland. I've never been to Disneyland, but I wanted to give her an experience to get things off her mind. And it literally, on Instagram, March 2019, we could even pull it up. It says, just another day at the office, plain Captain Save-A-Ho with the emojis.
Wow. I called it. No, but that's that alpha. That's a savior, right? That's a valor. That's what men do. We want to be there and make sure we can help uplift you, and take care of you.
Yeah.
So now, you
gotta help yourself first, though. And that's one thing I fucked up on my entire 20s, right? Put your own mask on before... it's something I didn't realize. So before you start a family or fall in love or treat yourself to the luxury of watching Netflix and building an emotional connection with a young lady, for most of you guys out there, and I understand you have a beautiful girlfriend, any dude can knock a hot girl. It's not hard, right? But are you even fit? Are you going to complement her life? Are you going to add value to her life? Are you going to help her level up? Are you going to level up while you guys are just inside one another all fucking day long watching TV? No. So use your youth and your energy to produce and create and become more, and you'll attract more. I mean, I've had game my whole life, but the pool that I play in today versus what I had access to
Portland.
when I made 20, 30 grand a month in Portland, it's night and day. You know, you 10x your income, you literally also 10x the rooms you walk into and the people you meet. I don't get to date a woman like my ex, who comes from an insanely wealthy family, without at least having a few bases covered.
Right.
Or I don't get to save a girl who's married to a high profile man who happens to, live in the same community and so on and so forth, if I can't provide for her on the same level.
Right. So it was funny because I won't talk about the incident, but something came up where you DM'd me, gave me a heads up on something. How hard, and this is what I've heard from a lot of my mentors, right? They have FU money. I don't have FU money.
Right.
They have FU money. So that to me is doing really well. But they said the hardest thing at that level, and I know you're on your way, right? Is to say no to people and friends. How hard is it for you? I know you're a direct person. I'm not talking about that, because I know you can tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. But how hard is it to say no to a friend, an associate, or a woman? Are you finding that challenging at your level? Because now you got all these people that are coming to you, and they all have an underlining hidden agenda sometimes. Sometimes they're genuine. So you got to cipher through and say, okay, is this person being genuine, or they just want my wallet? Is this guy my scrub that's just going to roll with me just to live off the fringe benefits, or is she about me? So how hard is it, are you finding now as you're rising? Because here's the interesting thing. I showed a colleague, John, who you just met. He's like, I know this guy. I've seen him before. Your reels are all over the world. Your Instagram went from zero to hero to, wow, okay, he's epic now. And I'm like, geez, man, I thought I was going to this guy. He's popping up all over the place, right? How hard is it for you to say no to a woman, a man, or a friend when it comes to money or other things?
Well, my philosophy is giving someone money is just delaying an existing problem. So I'm not the Bank of Edmond.
Say that again. I want you to say that again. Say what you just said.
So my guys on their way out, they're like, hey, Edmond, if only I could have $50K to buy leads, then, I could be successful in solar, or if only this, if only that, right? And I built this out of my Camry. I sometimes slept in it. $60 a night rooms, sometimes with bed bugs, and eventually a studio apartment for 2 years. The cars, the flash, the watches, the money, it's a double-edged sword. Honestly, it hurts you more than anything. If you think that you're going to work hard once you have it, it's way easier to work hard when you don't have anything. This
is a Glenn Ross moment. The leads are weak. Fuck you, you're weak.
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, ABC, always be closing.
And if one of my guys could become a solar millionaire, if I gave him 50 grand, I mean, oh my gosh, I'd do that all day, every day, multiple times a day.
But you're not teaching them how to fish. You're giving them fish, right? Is that the...
What happens to your kids when you spoil them, right? They become entitled. It's never enough. They don't feel fulfilled. There's always another kid that gets more.
I got a story about it. My kid said, oh, my buddy got an Audi, blah, blah, blah. I got him a Toyota used 2008 Camry, 140,000 miles.
The car started out in.
Right. Nothing wrong with it. It's great. Get your license. Now they don't want to get their license, right? But the point is, all these other kids that he knows, some of the kids, they got these brand new Audis. And what did he do? His friend totaled it.
Yeah. Oh, all my friends. I went to a rich kid public high school called Lincoln High School, and they all had Audis, Range Rovers,
Nike and Intel money down there, right? Vancouver,
Microsoft,
Portland,
all of it.
Yep.
And none of them are doing fuck all today. Your drive, the middle class never does anything, right? The rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and the middle class disappears. And the middle class has birthdays and lunch and Christmas. It might not be the vacation they want, but they get a vacation. Right? The people, there's a few that preserve the wealth, most of it squandered within 2 generations, but the people that make it are people that come from poverty, right? Comfort's the killer of success. If you're super uncomfortable, if you know what hardship and struggle is like, if you have a reason to fight,
right?
It's people that risk everything to come to this country.
It's funny because somebody said, I come from that lower middle class. I wouldn't say poor, but yeah, whatever. And somebody, I went in the military, but I come from the broken homes, moved every year, 12 high schools, 12 years, barely got out of high school. X plus Y equals Z. It's like, why'd they change it to letters from numbers? Like, how's that going to make me money? That was my mindset. But the funny thing is I when the Army got out, they're like, hey, we're going to go camping. It's like, I spent my whole life trying not to be homeless. I don't want to go act homeless. My idea of vacation is Grand Wailea, right? In Maui, right? That's camping. I want to camp on the beach. I want to go to Bali. I want to go to these places I've never even heard of. I don't want to go up in the woods and pitch a tent. That's just me.
Right.
Nothing wrong with if you want to do it, but I don't want to act homeless. I'm trying not to be, right? Because even like you said, you make $1 million and you're like, okay, how do I get to the next? And it's not about the money. It's about the why. Like, how do I impact my family? How do I impact people's lives? How do I help one of my employees send their kid to a private school and get out of the public school system here that's pretty bad? Right? How do I?
Yeah. So back to giving money. I mean, you've got so many people asking for handouts, and I tell them I'm not the Bank of Edmond, and giving someone money is just delaying an existing problem. Right? How can we figure out a way to no longer have $5,000 problems, right, or $500,000 problems? I have, let's be honest, $5 million problems. It's embarrassing, but I'm going to figure out how to overcome those. A lot of it's in your mind and. There's barriers and limiting beliefs.
Sure.
If you can problem solve it, now you get to have $50 million problems. Wouldn't it be nice to be like the guy who has a $500 million or a $5 billion problem? Well, if you can't solve a $50,000 problem, sweetheart, you're never going to have any bigger of a problem. So you can either quit for 3 feet from gold and give up like 99% of America and stay average and mediocre, or you can take advantage of living in the greatest country in the world, still for now, and level up.
It's either a spending problem or an income problem or both, right? Can you talk about delayed gratification when it comes to buying things? I know you mentioned you were in a Toyota Camry when you started. So did you have somebody coach you, mentor you? Because when you come from where we come from, we see stuff and we're like, oh, I gotta, I know. You gotta
be really careful with coaches and mentors in the beginning, because if you're in the 99%, more than likely you're talking to someone else. It could be 10, 20 years your senior. It's very rare that some incredible mentor is going to come and pour it into you. It's mostly going to be people that have influence over you and can kind of take advantage of a situation. So you're going to learn a lot by doing. An hour in the field beats 40 hours in the classroom. And you've got all the coaching and mentorship available on YouTube and in the books. And ultimately, look for the numbers, right? People are going to fuck you. People are going to take advantage of you, and take accountability for that, right? Hopefully you can learn from your failures. Don't let your past hold you back from looking up and trying again. And eventually, once you do the work, once the student's ready, the teacher will appear. You will get some real mentors. But most people that can't do teach. And so be very careful and wary of someone that just wants to, for me, it's like we live in a very virtual world where we can pull up our mobile banking and see who should be doing the talking, right? Or I just like to show my Amex statement. I spend more in a week than people make in a year. And I'm a broke boy, right? But do you think I'm going to listen to anybody who doesn't have at least 10x what I have? Fuck no.
No.
Not when it comes to finances.
Not when it comes to finances.
Maybe when it comes to faith, maybe when it comes to spirituality, maybe when it comes to marriage, if you have a 30-year marriage that's thriving and your wife is still your best friend and you guys do everything together and you actually don't fuck girls on the side. Right? But so just be very careful that you're actually taking advice from people that you would actually want to trade places with in life. If you live in Vegas right now or Miami or LA or New York or all these big cities are filled with millionaires that disappear when the tab is due. Everyone's a millionaire in Vegas until the tab comes.
So, it's like my mindset is I'm always there, right? I don't, dude, come on, man. We went out, where was it? $3,000, dinner, right? And I just pulled my cash out of my card here, right? And then I see how people disappear. And and they get strung off on other conversations. It is what it is, but the real, are you with me? If we go to dinner and we go to the Mayfair or somewhere, the Yellowtail, and we're ordering food, I'm not even expecting you to pay. Right. I'm like, here's my card. Even if you don't say nothing, I don't care. Yeah. It's S corp. It's a tax deduction, 1099. We know the Schedule C, right? But it's amazing when people don't go to dinner with somebody because he's a millionaire, and you don't have money and expect him to pay, right? That's just...
Well, our circle today, it's like we're all sneaking off to the bathroom and try to sneak our card in to make sure we're the one that pays. But ultimately, here's a tip. If you're hanging out with someone more successful than you and you have the privilege of going to lunch or dinner, go out of your way to pay for it. Because,
thank you.
The reason you don't have a great network and your life is a direct relationship of your network is you're never going to get what you don't give. You got to put your best foot forward, and you got to give without expecting anything in return. That's an important philosophy to adopt, because the law of reciprocity is very real, but it might not come in the way you expect it to.
Pendulum goes both ways. So you pay it forward. I always do that. I have people come back and say, hey, man, thanks. Look, I'm not expecting anything. I'm just trying to help you out. Pay it forward to some other cat or some other dude or lady that needs help, right? Yeah. I don't do things because I expect something.
Right.
I do it because you're a good guy and I like you. And it's like, hey, Edmond, this guy's a builder in Southwest Vegas. He's coming to Vegas or Dallas. FYI, boom, here he is. Dad, thanks, man. I'm not asking for anything. Pay it forward. Because the pendulum will come back.
Perfect example is my watch mentor. This guy probably has $25 million in watches, 3 planes. He's, I don't know if he's a billionaire or not. He's very humble, but I would imagine he is. And I legitimately do everything I can. We met for the first time at the beginning of 2021 and started a conversation over watches. It was actually this green-faced Daytona, also named a John Mayer. But I go out of my way to buy that lunch, to buy that dinner. And you can say, well, easy for you to say, Edmond, you make money. But no, it's been like that since day one, right? But I see value in potentially one day being able to have a 3-minute phone call with this guy and asking him for advice on a certain topic or subject.
Right.
Now, 99% of people may not see value in that.
No, it's huge value. But we understand, because after you get our asses handed to us, John Maxwell, I've been around him. He taught me some leadership skills. But, Grant Cardone was in here, not on my podcast, 10Xer, right? I just needed 1 minute. I got 1 minute, 2 minutes with a guy. I took enough. I was a sponge.
Wow.
I didn't talk about what I've done.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit, right? And it's like, okay. He says, don't buy a house. And for the average Joe, it's like, what do you mean don't buy a house, right? We're at a different level. But there's a 2 to 5 year, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 20. He's so far out in vision, you got to cast that line. And I had a chance to soak some information, just like I'm soaking off of you. I'm literally learning. Yeah. I've been around. I'm older than you. I've owned businesses and stuff, but it doesn't mean I can't learn from somebody. It's like I tell guys my age, don't be that old VCR that you're holding on to. Right, people are streaming. Right, the guys my age don't do crypto. And I had I don't know if you know him, Miguel Munoz, the king of crypto. I call him. He has a whole show. I said, look, these young cats are killing it. They're making gains that we haven't made. Right, so it's good to have you here because I can learn from what you're doing.
Your mind's like a parachute. It's not going to work unless it's open. And I think I've learned just enough to realize that I really don't know anything. Right? every day you're either growing or dying. If you make a decision to grow, right, and if you believe that the more you grow, the more your income grows, it can be pretty exciting.
And I don't know squat about solar. Right. I have solar in my house. People come to my door. Hey, you don't have enough panels. I'm like, what the hell, right? Yeah. Lennar sold me all these damn panels. I'm leasing them, right? Lease them, buy them. I'm like, and if I ever had a question as busy as you are, I'd say, hey, I might DM you. Hey, I got a quick question. They said I have 18 solar panels. It's not enough. What should I be doing? You might, and as busy as you are, you might say, get 4 more.
Right.
That's all I need. But I'm not going to go to some guy and try to learn how to make $1 million off of solar if he just started.
Sure.
Right. So where do you? So you're planning on launching something in April, right? Is this going to cover this business, the solar industry? Are you covering the whole U.S. or international or West Coast, Southwest? What's the plans?
We're going to be starting out with 27 states. I think 33 markets. Ultimately, the bulk of our business comes from 6 states. predominantly Florida, Texas, California, Nevada, Arizona. We got big goals, big dreams.
And it helps with the government regulations with solar. Does that help?
Yeah, I mean, you look at all these people getting into cannabis and different industries. I'll tell you right now, solar is a modern day gold rush. I mean,
really?
Warren Buffett says the deregulation of energy will be the largest transfer of wealth we see.
Like the Vanderbilts and
over
railroads.
the next 2 decades.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you had people back in the day risking everything, coming from the east, and literally getting shot in the back with a bow and arrow to go dig for gold. And I truly believe solar, it's deregulated, is literally just that. Now, is it easy? No. I mean, there's so many casualties. There's so many people that like lose everything trying to get into solar, right? It's eat what you kill. It's sell or die. But if you can take some accountability for your life and actually do the work is a great separator. Nobody wants to do the work. But if you're not afraid to roll up your sleeves and do the work, solar is a great place to build wealth. Wow.
And so are you building this out? Is it going to be virtual? Are you going to have a home office here in Vegas? Or is this where you're going to be based out of?
Yeah, well, we're launching and opening offices in all markets. We'll definitely have a beautiful virtual team and call centers and troops on the ground. And I mean, we want 50,000 reps by the end of the year. So
50,000?
Correct.
Reps?
Correct.
So are these contractors?
1099, yeah.
So, but you'll have employees too that run the operations.
Yeah, like a couple hundred W-2s, but the sales force is
wow.
It's a voluntary army.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
because I'm watching these guys doing solar.
I think Apricot currently has upwards of 6,000 or 7,000.
But you know what's interesting? To me, when I look at that company, you're like the face of that company, right? And you won't say it.
It's funny,
but you are, because I thought it was your company.
Just a rep, they don't believe me. Like other people in solar too, they truly don't believe me, and they'll even walk away from a conversation. I remember seeing someone at Jing who owns another solar company and recognized me, and I thought he was a professional fighter. It turns out he's just like, a VP of some solar company. And I was with my best friend and CEO at the time, and he thought the guy was fucking on me, and he actually was a fighter because he had tattoos and a gold rollie, and I was like, nah, if he tells me he's just a solar guy, he's a solar guy. And so we actually bet the tab on it, which Jing is pretty cheap. But I followed this guy out. He's a big dude. I looked straight ahead. He wasn't there. Went to the right, ran, and then he was there. I tapped him on the shoulder. I was like, hey, my CEO thought you were fucking on me. We just bet dinner on it. Like, are you in solar or are you a fighter? And he's like, no, I'm in solar. I know who you are. And I tried telling him, I was like, hey, so I tried having a conversation with him. He shut it down. He's like, I know you own the company, and walked away.
Wow. Yeah, because I thought it was your company.
It's not. Well, I thought it was too. I was promised equity, but 4.5 years in, I still don't have anything in writing.
So that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. I think you got gains to make, right? Like I think when people burn bridges long term, that's not a good thing.
Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for you. It's your perspective.
Now, were these the dudes I saw you hanging out with all the time? I won't say their names. They're always at the okay. Yeah, because I'd run into this guy. Man, I see you all the time.
Always out.
At different venues. We'll just leave it at that.
Nice.
It's like, hey. Yeah. Same guys, same places,
It's lonely at the top.
It is, man. And I like Jing, but I go to some other restaurants too, but I've always seen you, and it's like, okay. I think Aria, Bellagio, other places. Yeah. Good stuff. So anything else happening that I need to know about? The new girl you're dating, or do you date multiple girls?
Yeah, I mean, I truly believe you're either getting laid or you're getting paid, but when you're getting one, the other's getting away. So, for me, I think
you have an abundance.
Women is probably my Achilles heel, right? It could be one of my biggest strengths and biggest weaknesses. And I have to manage it.
Is it mostly girls from here, or do you fly girls in that you date?
So all of that stuff, a lot of my haters think that I pay for women.
No. But when you take them out, look, and I'm going to clarify this. I know you don't. I know you.
Right.
I know from what I see.
So for those of you that want to roll up on me, I have a 2 guns in each Rolls Royce. But I also go out with a 10-piece on me, at least sometimes, 2 of them. And if I pick up some girl, there's no dating apps. Sure, I have Instagram, but I like to walk up to a specimen, to something I'm actually excited about, which is rare. I don't get excited too often, but if I see something I like, I'm going to walk up to it and I'm going to let her know. And then she's going to get in my Rolls Royce Dawn. We're going to take the top down. I'm going to smoke a cigar. She's going to be like, ew, I hate cigars, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to play some music. I'm going to do what I do. And eventually, you know, after dinner or something, a lot of the time it's like, are you going to take care of me? Right? And that's when I pull out the 10-piece and I let the money fly out like $2,000 to $3,000. And I
flies out the window?
Well, the top's down, but yeah. And we're driving, so it just goes up.
I need to follow him around Vegas.
But I let her know. I'd rather, you know, some guy pick it off the street in the morning than to ever give you $1.
I'm joking.
And every time the same outcome happens. I mean, we end up having a great time together. So I'm happy, and I do this in front of my guys too. I remember getting asked for a $100,000 signing bonus at a 2-bedroom penthouse at Bellagio. I went down, I pulled a $100K marker, I spun it on the roulette table, and then I ended up making 34% on that spin. But I let them know I'd rather give it to the casino floor than to ever give you a signing bonus.
Well, you know, the
which a lot of people in solar are scum, and I truly believe they're no better than the casino floor.
And here's the thing too, you know, men spend money on women indirectly. You're talking about transactional. You're not going to pay for it, but you take them out on dates. You do stuff. You're buying dinner, right? Oh, so yeah. You're spending money, but you're talking about I'm not going to give you
$20,000-$30,000 nights. And for some of them that are, you know, just buckets, they don't understand, right? They get upset, especially if they see me throw $3, $4, $5 grand in ones at the.
They're like, "Where's my Louis purse?
Why can't I just have, you know, $1,000, $2,000 when you spend all of this money and you give everyone else money except me?" Well, sweetheart, if you got to ask for it, you're never gonna get it.
But if you were married, then if she wanted $2-3 grand, you have no problem.
Oh, if you want to see my ex-girlfriend's American Express statements, it's kind of impressive. I'm
right.
Like, wow, I didn't know you could.
So you have to earn it.
It's whatever, man. Those that ask for it and want it don't get it, and you know.
So when you're out, do they ever say, "Hey, let's go buy? I need a Louis Vuitton purse"?
Rarely, but there has been a few occasions, and I'll go into LV. My card's on file, and I'll like pick out 2 handbags, and I'll be like, "Which one do you like?" You know, and I'll be like an orange one and the one that everyone likes. And they pick the one that everyone wants, right? Whatever's in season with the girls. And then I'll, you know, get both of them, bag them up, plus a bunch of other stuff. I'll go and I'll end up giving her the one that she didn't want, right? The opposite one. And then that night I'll go, they'll be like, "Oh, what are we doing next?" I'll be like, "Sorry, you said you could only hang out for this long. I got another date." And that night on Instagram, they'll see me gift the one they wanted to another girl. I did that all 2021.
And you know what's and again, I've been in a relationship 4 years with the same girl, but I don't ever hear anything bad about you, you know. So that shows respect, right? And I meet a lot of women when I'm out. I meet a lot of women.
If you hear something bad, it's a girl that I didn't want to sleep with,
no,
or that 100%. I was brutally honest with. But yeah, I take a lot of pride in having amazing friends that are women that will actually, they could come on this podcast. When I meet them, they're, you know, 20, 30,000 a month, and now they'll tell you 120,000 a month, 200,000, condo paid for, car paid for, still haven't even fucked the guy, right?
Wow.
And that's and I think women are so much more coachable than men, because I've got, you know, I've helped 11 people make over 100 grand a month in solar, and a lot of guys, when their income grows and their ego climbs, they don't maintain it, but women indirectly, just with small little nuggets here and there, it's incredible what some of them achieve. There's
how many it's a predominantly a male industry, solar.
Well, women would do so much better in solar because women are beautiful. You're gonna let them inside your home. You're gonna listen to them. They're pleasant to listen to. But you can marry into more in a second than you can make in a lifetime. So, you know, unfortunately, beautiful girls that have worked at Apricot tend to try and go for me. I've never been unprofessional with people at the workplace. I say if it has a solar.com email, don't touch it, don't look at it, don't even be caught in any
That's
situation.
That's so good. Don't shit where you eat, right?
Yeah, and we've set examples. But ultimately, they'll end up going after one of the top income earners, and then they run off and start their own solar company in the sunset. So for me, it's very touchy. You can't control people, but yeah, I think long term, men tend to do a little bit better with the industry from what I've seen. Even though women would have so much more natural talent and ability to scale up to the big money faster.
So it's funny because women we're talking about homes. Women would rather sell real estate than solar, but solar you can make more money, right?
Easier transaction, faster transaction. It's honestly real estate money without. But you know, I tell girls that get into real estate, I'm like, all you have to do is find a developer that just built out 200 or 500 homes. Become friends with him or his wife or whatever. Do whatever it takes to get that account to where you're the exclusive person that sells every home, and you just figured out how to make 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 million in commissions, and the homes are going to sell regardless. So
sure.
It's just kind of like, you know, just think a little bit bigger, and you're going to have a great. As a woman, you can get into any room, any door. Most, you know, a girl can just about any guy she wants. I'm not saying she can date a guy. I think the guy chooses who he marries, not vice versa. But as far as getting through the door, easy peasy.
And I want to add a couple more questions because this is very interesting, intriguing. How is the economy affected solar? Is it affected at all?
It's recession proof. I built my wealth during the pandemic. And I honestly believe everything's recession proof. You guys can challenge me on this, but sales is the highest paid, hardest working profession on earth. And it is the lowest paid, easiest working profession on earth. And you guys are programmed to follow the masses. 99% of people are sheep. And so if things slow down and everyone slows down and it's slow and it's a recession, well, everybody stops working and watches Netflix and off. I truly challenge you to understand that during a recession, wealth is built. During a recession, when everyone's panicking, when everyone's living in fear, uncertainty, and doubt, it is the easiest time to actually stand out, to actually focus, and to actually become a leader. Lead yourself first. A leader of one can become a leader of many, and the speed of the team is the speed of the leader. So people will do what you do, not what you tell them to do, right? There's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. And the second you start developing a little credibility with yourself by doing the activity, hour in the field beats 40 hours in the classroom, is the second you'll build a little credibility with others. And if you can lead yourself for 90 days, you can lead others for 90 days. And solar, that means you go from making 10 grand a month to 10 grand a week to 10 grand a day.
Right on, man. Man, this is awesome. I learned a lot. I appreciate you being on here, bro. When you know, down the road, I want to get back together with you. I'm sure I'll see you out and talk about how your company's evolved, where you're going, what you're doing. Because for me, not even being involved, my passion for you is to see you past where you were and the company you were with because of what happened. It's like
That'll happen in 6 months.
See, now that is victory, right? You know, it's you know, live life vicariously, but at the same time, it's like just be successful, right?
Yeah, a lot of people think I'm crazy, by the way, because I could literally do nothing and collect at least a couple $100 grand a month check and just chill and have an, you know, easy peasy life. I've done the work, I've built it, the people are there. And for me, leadership is doing what you know is right without having any sort of fear, uncertainty, and doubt of the future or how it's going to turn out or this or that. So even though I don't have a check right now that is even resembles what I was making, I'm following my heart. I'm not making an emotional decision as much as I'm making a decision that's been brewing inside of me for 2 years that I believe there's been a catalyst moment where it's needed to finally happen. And ultimately, you know, victory goes to those that put in the work. So
right on, man.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, man. Thank you for being on the show and everybody that your entourage, right? The writer that you brought with you,
yeah.
Your ghostwriter. Props to her. Your videographer, your main media dude, right? That I've seen somewhere before. I'm going to figure it out. And your personal assistant that had to leave early.
Yes.
Both all beautiful people. I appreciate being on the show. Thanks. I appreciate it. Stay strong. Make sure you guys, anybody that's interested, even if you're not, follow him on his Instagram. Go to it. Follow. If you, Maybe he'll do podcasts one day. Subscribe to his future YouTube. I'm talking him into this thing, right? He's like, and I don't want to say this and compare you, but like John's like, well, who's this guy coming in? I said, he is the Patrick Bet-David of the solar industry. You know, whether you like the guy or not, right?
I don't know.
Okay, well, he's the insurance guy that made $300 million, sold his company. You know, it's on a podcast now. But yeah, make sure you follow him. Go to his Instagram. Stay strong, and we'll see you soon.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.